Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to deliver a ministerial statement on coastal fisheries and sustainable initiatives. Madam Speaker, since the establishment of a separate and independent ministry, the Ministry of Fisheries over the past year have ventured into goals that we see worth addressing due to its urgency. In particular, with limited resources, our efforts and priorities have centered on coastal fisheries. For every Fijian, marine resources derived from our coastal fisheries have been part of our culture and our tradition. It defines our way of living and links us to the undocumented history of our past. Madam Speaker, over the past year, the Ministry of Fisheries has reviewed the work currently being undertaken within the fisheries sector to identify the critical areas that needs to be addressed. We have noted that while the offshore fisheries resources of tuna and tuna-like species are well covered through the robust management measures, the coastal fisheries resources have been somewhat overlooked. It has been identified that one of the reasons is the fact that coastal fisheries fall under the area of total sovereignty. Madam Speaker, this means that how Fiji chooses to exploit resources within these areas is entirely up to the priorities and demands of Fiji as a sovereign state. This has also led to a more challenging role of identifying the best option to choose when considering socio-economic development against the importance of sustainable resource management. Madam Speaker, to help address the gap between offshore and coastal activities, the Ministry of Fisheries have mirrored the offshore operational achievement against the current coastal fisheries status. In doing so, we have identified that there needs to be changes made in the following areas. 1, effort levels in coastal areas. Madam Speaker, the increase in scale of effort within the coastal areas is an ongoing issue that has been identified and being addressed by the Ministry of Fisheries. It is important to identify the status of resources within any fishery before any consideration of harvest is allowed. To address this, the research inventory team within fisheries have been conducting site surveys in different areas over the past year. These findings indicated there are different levels of available stock that exist within coastal Ngoli areas. An example of this is the scientific findings in Viti Levu compared to other isolated islands, including Vonoleu. While Viti Levu is the main urban center that generates the most demand, the resource availability comparison indicate that most fish species sold at urban centers are either from isolated islands or are sourced from Vonoleu. Madam Speaker, the reason to this is the mere fact that coastal areas close to the urban centers are being overfished or exploited due to increase in urban demand. Whilst having said this, I would like to inform the honourable members of Parliament of the mitigating solutions the Ministry of Fisheries is implementing to help bring back depleted coastal stocks. First is the legislative review. There is ongoing work being carried out to make changes to the current coastal legislation. While we recognize the urgency to address depleted stocks, having a supportive legislation will allow us to implement conservation and management measures for coastal resources. Madam Speaker, in particular, work done to review size limits and restrictions on protected species is one that needs changes in legislation. On the current Fisheries Act, the only size limit on crustacean and invertebrates is for mud crabs. Other species such as reef and mud lobsters, land and coconut crabs, octopus, clams, freshwater mussels do not have size restriction limits. Additionally, Madam Speaker, while Regulation 18 of the current Fisheries Act set out size limits for fish fin, There are no provisions available to protect these species when they are most vulnerable. This in particular is during their spawning season. Madam Speaker, in previous months there have been announcements made and initiatives discussed in the two species that are most vulnerable during spawning period. These species are cod and grouper, or in other words, species of kaukaua and don. In the months starting from June through to September, these species congregate within the reef system to spawn. This is when they are most vulnerable, and this is when they are targeted and harvested in great numbers. The sad thing is overharvesting has resulted in the decline in the numbers in many coastal areas. Madam Speaker, to prevent this, legislative consultations are being finalized to legally ban the harvest, including the sale of threatened species of kaukaua and donu during spawning season. This is in addition to the protection of other threatened marine species such as turtles, hammerhead wrasse, beach dimmer, and giant clams. Secondly, Madam Speaker, the development on aquaculture and feds as alternative. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Fisheries recognizes that with any ban or restriction, coastal communities that rely on these species as their means of livelihood would be affected. While keeping that in the back of our minds, it is also important to consider how allowing continuous harvest of certain species will lead to their overexploitation and loss of sustainability for our future generations. Madam Speaker, allow me to inform members of Parliament on the two initiatives at providing alternatives while reducing pressure on species harvested from the wild. First is through the improvement of aquaculture program. In recent years, aquaculture was focused on semi-commercial farms that mainly cultured freshwater tilapia and brackish water prawns. Noting the urgency to address the depleting of wild stock of beach dimmer, cod, groupers, the Ministry of Fisheries, through its existing partners, have secured funds and technical expertise to commence the commercial breeding of these species. The culturing of beach dimmer, cod, grouper, milkfish, and other viable species will be piloted in an upgraded commercial hatchery in our Ngaloa station. Additionally, Madam Speaker, the survey of suitable agricultural land have been finalized in parts of Vanua Levu and Viti Levu. While we are focusing on the introduction of cage farming for commercialized feed fish, land-based farm will focus on land areas that have shown evidence of saltwater intrusion due to climate change and sea level rise. Areas in Raviravi-Mba, Korvatu in Vanua Levu have been identified as suitable sites to initiate this important program. Madam Speaker, to raise awareness on this initiative, the Ministry of Fisheries will be conducting an open day on aquaculture program and other initiatives. This will also provide the opportunity for investors to look at species that are worth culturing. Madam Speaker, apart from the aquaculture program, the other alternative that is being initiated is the deployment of fishing aggregated device, or FAD. This I have alluded to yesterday. This fishing device is deployed in offshore areas and is aimed at reducing fishing effort in coastal areas while ensuring economic efficiency for fishers during their fish trips. The deployment of FADs and the training on the use of FADs have been completed in more than 50 villages and now are currently being practiced by these villages. In the coming months, further training on the use of FADs will be carried out in other coastal communities and villages. Let me touch on the coastal MCS and enforcement. Madam Speaker, I would like to end by highlighting the importance of coastal MCS and enforcement, or in basic fisheries terms, monitoring, control, surveillance, and enforcement. Through the entire history of the Ministry of Fisheries, there has never been any work done in establishing a division to address these important activities, noting that it is needed to efficiently manage coastal resources. Madam Speaker, evidence on the work currently being done on this was present in our shores for 6 months last year. I'm referring to the surveillance assistance rendered to us by our New Zealand counterparts through the patrol vessels HMNZS Hawea. I wish to thank the Government of New Zealand and the New Zealand Navy for this assistance. In addition to this, our relationship with our partners has grown. We have managed to set up a new division that will address the MCS and enforcement priorities. This includes the recruitment of about 45 officers to start implementing and enforcing these management priorities. Madam Speaker, with these recruitments, there will be substantial changes occurring with fisheries and coastal communities as a whole. Certain restrictions and bans will be enforced even further. This might not sit well with many. However, it is important to be mindful of the continuous threat we impose on the limited resources available within our fisheries. Madam Speaker, in concluding, I would like to emphasize that current initiatives are for the betterment of the Fijian people. It is to ensure that while there are enough resources available today, we are able to sustain and manage it well so that our future generations do benefit from it as well. And I thank you.